Let that be a lecture, folks. Don't revive ancient bacteria because it's just gonna end bad. Now give me intro! Brothers and sisters, my name is Daidarius and welcome to the review of Life. So Life is directed by Daidarius, and I haven't seen any of his 6 movies at all. So Life begins that we have these 7 astronauts about on the ISS. It's clearly in the future. It isn't explained how far into the future. ISS has been rebuilt, however. There's a big ass command center and a big ass laboratory, much bigger than those they have now. But these 7 astronauts are aboard the ISS to catch a space probe coming from Mars because it has apparently found evidence of life on Mars, and they have to catch it and then experiment and research this life. And from here it just goes downhill. So they managed to, before I start, if you don't want to get spoiled, I haven't seen any of the trailers, and you want to go into this movie clean-minded, then of course props to you. But I will leave a timestamp right here for you to click on, or a timestamp in the description below where I just jump past this spoiler territory. So for the rest of us, you still here? Awesome. So they managed to bring this creature back to life, and it's actually a bacteria, a one-celled bacteria. And they start to observe it and see how it behaves and how it develops, and generally just what is this life? Is it something that's close to our bacterial life, or something different? And this is global news, of course. Life beyond Earth is something huge because as long as humans have studied the universe, the space, everything out there, there's always been one question lingering here. Is there anyone else out there? And here we have an answer. And this is okay, before I get into more about the story, the movie names this creature. It's a big competition for around, I believe, 10,000 schools to, come up with a name for this. And they name it Kelvin. And I think that's a big missed opportunity. I grew up with the Looney Tunes, and my first thought of a great name for this was Marvin. Marvin this Martian. Okay. They quickly find out that Kelvin's cells has 3 functions. They are light sensing cells, so they're actually eyes. They are a brain cell, and they are a muscle cell, which means that they can work independently but also together. And he can see with his potential feet and back, and he actually has, eyes in the back. So when you have a creature where every living cell in its body is a brain cell, that makes it really, really smart. And when it's also, in the meantime, a muscle cell, then it's freaking strong. When it's about the size of a hand, it is stronger than your hand. It can actually break your hand. And this, of course, brings up the question, is it safe to study this creature? I mean, you completely understand why they're doing this on the ISS, because if this creature is hazardous and dangerous, then you wouldn't want it to go to Earth. The same thing as when we brought, I believe it was frogs to the Australia many years ago. Then the ecosystem just made them, multiply and take over the country, and now it's become a hazard. So they studied this creature, and shit happens. The creatures manage to break out of the containment it is in, and now it's moving around the ISS, and these astronauts need to find a way to not just kill it, but make sure it doesn't get down to Earth. And so we have this movie. So what I love about this movie is this is a horror movie done right. And what I mean by this is that it doesn't rely on shock effects that we usually see in modern horror movies. For example, when you see a character move a bit to the one side, and then there's a big empty frame here where maybe there is room for someone back there, then you just know for sure that there's gonna come something up behind them and, you know, create a shock effect. Just go, ugh! And that is not horror. That is not frightening. Yes, of course, you do jump in your seat, but you're not scared. It's just a reflex. However, this movie makes you not cringe, but, you know, just makes you tighten up and make you uneasy throughout the whole movie because of two things: atmosphere and motherfucking Calvin, because he is made so great. Not only does he look like an alien creature, and not just like, "Take me to your leader," but an actual creature that you could imagine would live on Mars from I don't know, billions of years ago. But its design is just, it just makes you uneasy. You get from the start that this creature is really, really strong. When it's about this big, it can kill a man. And it gets bigger throughout the movie. Every time it eats, it gets bigger, and it's almost impossible to kill. They try everything. They throw everything at it, and it just won't die. It even goes to space at one point. It doesn't die from that. So I have Calvin. That is an amazing monster. On the other hand, you have these astronauts trapped on the ISS with nowhere to run. All you can do is try to put Calvin in quarantine, and if this succeeds, either, you know, get him to deep space or get them down to Earth, because they can't bring him down. It's just too dangerous. So you really start to root for these characters. You don't get to know them that much. I mean, Jack Gyllenhaal's character, yes, you kind of get the feel of him, and the other one, she was the quarantine gal. I can't remember her name. Those are the only two that you really get a connection to. The others are sort of, I mean, they are humanized, and you do feel where they come from, but you're not that connected to them. But you start rooting for these, because not only are they in a terrible situation, but Calvin is frightening as fuck. Every time he is on screen, me personally, I just start, you know, really tightening my grip on my seat and just sit back and just go, why can't you die, you little piece of shit? Just amazing, amazing horror. Just, mwah, I have missed this for so fucking long. So what this movie does great is to make this, the science in the movie and, you know, the fact that they are in space seem so real. They have a reality-grounded approach to the science in the movie. There's not that much science of it, but when they show it, you do go, I can see that actually happening. A lot of the movie in the beginning is used to show the scientific approach to how you would research and experiment with this bacteria, this life form. And it doesn't drag out that much, but there are a scene when you thought to yourself, is this where the shit is going down? And then it doesn't, so you kind of, you know, get tense in your seat for no reason at all. That could be because I have seen the trailer that I thought this is where shit is going down. It would just be my fault, but I would just have loved to see that scene constructed a bit better. Now there is an intense scene in the movie about halfway through where there's someone who has to take a spacewalk. What's happening in this scene? Bad shit. One of which is that the person in question suddenly is drowning. How can you do that in space? There's no fucking water out there. Well, Daniel Espinosa found a way, and it's tense as shit, but given the kind of movie it is, you know from the get-go where this scene is going and how it's going to end. But it was actually well made. And the scenes that come afterwards, it is well constructed, and you go, come on man, just do it, just fucking do it, come on, work, come on. So I will get props for that. My God of mine will be the story, because there's not happening that much. You only fight with Calvin, and that's it. I would hope that, you know, that you have some character development or something else thrown into the mix. I don't mean that suddenly, I don't know, they're gonna be hit by space debris or anything. You don't need more shit in their way, but something to, you know, make the story really hit you. And personally, I think that a way to do this would be the characters, make you care about them more. At some point, it's just Calvin is here, shit happens, oh shit, someone dies. Then we go over to here, something happened, Calvin's here, oh shit, someone dies. Hinge and repeat, and that's it. I would have loved to at least see them try to figure something out, have a plan, or maybe even just, you know, adapt to the situation. Just go, oh, he is there, let's try to contain him here, oh, he's there, let's try to contain him here, there. But also, okay, he's there, we try to contain him where he is at the moment, and also try to figure out what the fuck is our next step in case we actually contain the fucker. Are we gonna go back to Earth? Are we gonna send him away? What are we gonna do about this shit? So what I'm trying to say here is that it's a lot of sequence which is just Calvin do some shit, fuck. Then Calvin do some shit, fuck. And then Calvin does some shit, fuck. That's about it. Then again, you could say that about a lot of movies, like in Die Hard. McClane's fucks some terrorists up. Yee-hoo! Oh, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! McClane's fucks some terrorists up. But there's more in between, because every time he butts heads with a terrorist, then some new force or some new obstacle or something mixes the story up and takes it in a different direction than it was before. Yes, he still has to save the people in Nakatomi Tower. He still has to defeat the terrorist. But, you know, it's not a linear story. It's 6 steps away. Whee! And I would love to see this in life, but it doesn't really happen. But then again, it's a minor gripe. This movie is fantastic. It's well constructed. The characters could have been better, but then again, the focus was clearly on Calvin and how a fucker he is. The music was alright. I can't remember the score at all. And when I hear a great score, either I would remember the score or I would immediately, when I come home, look it up and start listening to it. And not hear that much. But then again, it wasn't the focus of the movie. The movie wasn't relying on the score to hammer in the creepy factor. It did that well with well constructed scenes and, you know, suspense. So what you end up with, a movie with a well told horror story. There could have been more story to it, but it works amazingly as a horror movie. You have some characters that you root for, but you just wish that they were more defined or resonated better with you. You have some amazing effects. Holy shit, the effects. I mean, Calvin looks awesome, yes, but the best effects was undoubtedly the ISS and space. Holy shit, that's gravity level of detail. Damn. However, I'm not gonna spoil anything, of course. But the ending is so predictable it hurts, and I don't think it's just a tribute to any prior movie in the same genre. It's predictable as shit. That's what it is. There's one little twist in the third act that you don't see coming, but when you think about it, doesn't make that much sense. It doesn't ruin the movie, but when you begin to think about it, just go, but then how, what? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't ruin the movie at all. However, it is kind of stupid, and they could have done it without it or made it something better. Again, I will refer to the ending of Alien. I won't say more, and if you have questions, then feel free to ask about what it is. But that being said, I enjoyed this movie fully and completely, and I would say, with the gripes, the few there are, and the pros, the many there are, this movie is definitely worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. Now I know this review is short, but then again, it's a simple movie with a well-told horror story, and there's not that much else to say about it without spoiling anything. And since it is a horror movie, then I want you to be horrified. So, have you seen Life? What do you think about it? Comment below and let me read your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! Come on, fucker. They're coming from, fuck!